If you will. So my question for you today, Matt, are you ready? I think
Over.
this might get you excited. I think it will.
Okay.
All
This is my excited voice,
This is your excited voice. Well, let me
uh-huh.
see if I can
And this
if
is
I can
my,
elevate it a little bit.
yeah. Let's see what do you got for me?
All right. So we've talked about this obviously, over however many weeks it's been, talking about the growth area of the market, specifically tech and communication, kind of lagging, not participating in the move of the market. And then all of a sudden, they finally woke up. And specifically with
Mm,
tech, right?
I know where you're going. They woke
Specifically with
up
tech, we've said what? Nothing's going to move until what goes? Finish
semis.
the sentence. All right. So that is where my headspace is at. We can talk about financials, we can talk about energy, healthcare, all those stuff we have, obviously throughout. But I'm looking at this area and I'm going, all right, mama needs some action. I've been patient. I've listened to my mentor because you've said be patient, wait for semiconductors to move and technology should follow suit, right? That's going to be the thing that kind of pushes the tech boom, right? Or the
Mhm.
tech bounce rather. So I've been patient, but now the train has gone and left the station. And now I got to be patient again for that
You were
secondary.
too patient.
I was too
I
patient.
I get it. It kind of just happened out of
It just
nowhere, and
happened.
then it ran.
It woke up
You
and
were
just,
too
yeah, it didn't even
patient.
crawl. It's like a
I
baby
was
that
too
was born that just
patient.
started walking.
Everybody was too patient on this one. This one, listen, there are trades I regret. I don't regret missing out on this semiconductor movement, given the fact
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but it was lagging everything else in the market. And
Yeah.
we were completely in reversal analysis. And when you're in reversal analysis, I'm not going to be looking at the things that are lagging reversal analysis. Not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This thing caught up pretty aggressively. And so for me, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, let's look at it with fresh eyes a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so do that for me. Give me some fresh
Oh,
eyes.
that's the
And,
question.
and
Okay.
and specifically when it comes to semiconductors, at Team Tackle, we have our favorite. I don't have to
Yeah,
mention the name, but we know
listen,
what it is. It
that's
starts with an A,
it's
ends with a D.
advanced. It's advanced. Advanced. It's advanced against everything.
And
Advanced micro devices. Yeah.
I love, I kind of love AMD because we always have this saying, right? If it breaks 80, we'll go to 90. If it breaks 90, we'll go to 100. And then when it goes to 100, if you missed it, shame on you.
Uh,
So I'm
I
looking
remember
at
saying,
AMD.
hey, when AMD breaks 20, it goes to 30. When it breaks 30, it goes to 40. When it breaks 40, it goes to 50. We've done that dance
We've
on
said
AMD
that.
for
Yeah,
years.
we play that song and dance all day
Mhm.
long if we could, and twice on Sunday if we could.
Well, it just did it. It broke 70 and went to 80. So
Well,
we're
listen,
good.
I missed the 70 to 80. I don't want to
So
miss
did
the
I.
80 to 90 to 100. So help a sister out here.
Well, if you're looking for the dude that's going to tell you to chase things, I'm not that dude. That is not who I am at all. I do
Uh-huh.
not like runner chicken dinners going into overextended situations. I'll miss out on every parabolic movement in the market. I could care less. I do not like overextended natures. You see an overextended stock going into a potential breakout that could be a legitimate, most amazing breakout in the history of breakouts. I'm the guy that's going to say be patient. I just am because I
Yep.
don't like overextended situations. I don't like being the last person to buy an instrument.
Yep.
That's not a successful trading mentality to have. When you have to see the entire world make money before you, that is not a good situation to be in the financial world. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe real estate would be a little bit better in that environment. You need to be front runners in the financial world. You need to be forward thinking. What needs to transpire next for me to participate? You need to visualize that. And so,
Right.
with the market overextended here, and I know we're looking at AMD, and we'll take a look at the SOXX, and there's a couple ways you can look at the semiconductors from an ETF perspective. Here's the index itself. SMH Semiconductor Holdings would be the Vanguard Semiconductor Trust. They're all going to be fairly similar. SOXX is another one. That's the index itself. And so I'm just going to look at SOXX here from a technical perspective. When you're looking at semiconductors here, number one, this is a positive thing. This is a
Mhm.
positive thing for technology. The market's not going to bottom without technology. It can do it without communications. It can maybe even do it without discretionary, but I doubt it can really form a bottom without technology here. And tech wasn't going to move until semiconductors moved, and semiconductors are absolutely moving here.
Mhm.
You're seeing, I think, in the last week or so. Let me pull up FinViz real quick here just to look at some group settings.
Oh, I love Finviz when we do that. Oh, this is so exciting.
Yeah, when you look at FinViz here, and we go, you just get all geeky out there. When you
I
look at
do.
FinViz, and I just go to the industrial technology sector. Okay, so we're looking at tech.
Hmm.
We're looking at it broken down from an industry perspective. You got
Yep.
solar doing good today. You got semis doing good today. You got
Hmm.
semis in the last week up 13%.
Hmm.
Last month, you got conductor equipment. That's more of the applied materials of the world, not the AMDs of
Hmm.
the world. Up a whopping 45% in the last month, 24% in semis. Now, these percentage gains, don't compare them to 2019. Don't compare them. Like, that's not the comparison.
Yes.
It's really easy. That initial price movement up, yeah, it's up 45% because it got rocked by 90. like
Hmm.
like coming on these percentage gains coming off the lows, they can be intoxicating to a certain extent. Look at the last month, semiconductor equipment up 45%. You're like, ooh, well,
Ooh.
yeah, like they're coming in strong, they're coming in hot off the lows, but that's par for the course. That happens all the time. Just think about this from a momentum perspective, not a greedy perspective. The momentum is here. And so you certainly see the strength coming in over the last month. The what
Hmm.
last day has momentum, the last week has momentum, the last month has momentum. You go out to a little bit longer time frame here, and that last month of 45% is basically just break even now over the last 3 months. Over
Yeah.
the last half year, that
Ooh.
last 45%, well, we're still right here in the last half year. In the last year, that 45% in the last month, well, that's still 30% low off the past year. And so you have quite a bit of momentum coming from the low prices, and that's a positive step. It's a positive step. The question ultimately becomes, does it have another leg, though? Does it have
Hmm.
another leg to stand on here? And so we obviously got our momentum, but I don't feel like chasing is man. I let me say it again. I don't like chasing in normal market conditions. In some of the most uncertain, volatile conditions we've seen as traders, i.e., 2022, that's off
Hmm.
the table for me. And
Hmm.
so if the SOXX are just going to run up another 20%, they're going to run up without a lot of people like me, because I need to see a secondary pattern here. I need to see this first price movement justified by the market playing a little bit of defense, maybe taking a negative news day on the chin, and not sparking and not puking up this gains that it has had over the course of the last week or so. The last month or so has been pretty decent. And so, yeah, I do think you're looking at secondary pattern here. Anytime you go into an overextended situation, think about this from a reward to risk ratio. What are you going to say? It's going to go above the 200 daily moving average? Like, no,
Stop it.
no, that's not what we're going to do. And so, and where's the risk if you buy the tick at the top here? All the way
There.
down, all the way down. That's the risk. And so when you look at this from a visual perspective, here's your return. Okay.
Hmm.
And
And
this
the
is
rest
now
of that,
this is without a stop loss. Okay.
right?
So it is without a stop loss. But that's
And
your
that's
risk.
it.
Okay. So
Uh,
so no, I think we're inverted on the reward to risk ratio to a certain extent when you have that. And I would draw that anytime you're chasing an overextended price movement. I would draw that same type of picture. So I think you are looking high base here. I think you are looking bullish retracement. A bullish retracement in the 38% range would be amazing. Anything deeper, you get a little bit concerning here. but you're
Mhm.
certainly going into secondary mentality mode. And then as you track that secondary pattern throughout the market, and a secondary pattern, again, that's my language for anytime you're overextended.
Yep.
Anytime you're overextended, because how I teach trends and patterns, I teach it through a 1, 2, 3 methodology. And so 1 is the breakout, 2 is overextended, 3 is retracement. And so
Mhm.
whenever you break out and you get into 2 pretty quickly, you need to be waiting on 3, which is that secondary pattern off the primary breakout. And so that's just how I categorize overextended situations. When you're looking at the semiconductor space here, you're going to see a relatively similar picture, right? NVIDIA here overextended, Taiwan Semiconductor coming in extremely strong off that 60 handle all the way back up to 80. Broadcom doing amazing, Texas doing amazing. Qualcomm breaking out 2 days ago. Intel was on a report on the breakout of 30. That looks pretty decent. AMD overextended. NXPI overextended. Micron overextended. Marvel overextended, and so you're just looking at an overextended area of the market. But I want to bring on a couple stocks just to kind of, you know, track over the next week or so to see if we to see if we can get that next pattern here. First one obviously is AMD.
Mhm.
AMD is always going to be one of those stocks that we absolutely like at Tackle Trading. It I don't I'm trying to think what the most popular stock at Tackle Trading has been over the last 10 years.
Um,
I want to say it's FCX. I
I was
think it's
gonna say
FCX.
FCX.
I think it's FCX. AMD is close though. AMD for the growth tech plays, those are pretty close. I do think it's FCX. So I think there's been more on FCX than anything else. In terms of AMD though, you're just looking secondary here, right? You're just
Mhm.
looking secondary here. Nice little flag. Watch that 90 MA. Let the 90 MA kind of be the gauge here on overextended. If it's a flag, it comes down to meet it in the middle. If it's a
Yep.
high base, it consolidates and lets the 9 catch up to it. I
Yep.
also think Micron here. By the way, I personally like AMD more than Micron, but I love what Micron is doing with investments in infrastructure in the United States. I
Mhm.
absolutely love what Micron is doing there, investing billions and billions and billions of dollars on building semiconductor manufacturing plants here in the U.S. Such a good thing to do, a needed thing to do. We could all say it should have happened before, but at least they're coming along line right now. I really like the fact that they're putting in billions of investment capital into the United States to bring manufacturing, good old fashioned blue collar, high paying jobs back into the US. That's always a good thing. Looking at
Mhm.
Micron here, same type of conversation, slightly overextended. One that kind of stands out a little bit that maybe has not participated in the rally as much here is old Marvel. And
Mhm.
Marvel does have earnings coming up in a little bit, so you're going to have to navigate that earnings in about 2 weeks from now. But what I like about Marvel here, number one, Marvel's a awesome company. It's a fantastic company. It's been a Tackle 25 company for a couple different years. Marvel's coming here, very consistent bearish downtrend, trying to fight off the lows here. But what I like about this very consistent downtrend, there's a couple things I like about it. Number one, it's a pretty good company. Number two, I like if it breaks through this level of 47. And
Mhm.
so, whereas on some of the other ones, we need to see retraces. I think if we get a nice little momentum breakout here, you could see a little bit of price appreciation here on Marvel. And what I like about it here, Am, on Marvel, and again, I think this whole space needs a little bit of time to cool down, is when you're drawing your trend lines, Am,
Mhm.
I'm breaking them. I can't draw a trend line I'm not breaking,
Mhm.
especially with the breakout there. And
Yep.
so I think on the weekly chart, Marvel kind of stands out from a little bit of a longer term situation. It's a great covered call stock, by the way. It's an even better covered call stock of 44. That's how it works. Cheaper the stock gets, the better the covered call is.
Oh
But
yeah.
and so you got to like the bottoming formation happening on Marvel. I'm not sure I see a swing trade in the near term future here in the semiconductors. If you're looking to add a little bit here, I like AMD on a retracement. I like Micron on a retracement, or I like Marvel here as well. When you're looking at all three of them, let's just take a quick peek at their valuations very quickly, just so I can kind of summarize my thoughts very quickly. AMD still slightly overvalued, 44 PE ratio, and I'm just doing a quick spot check. 44 PE ratio, 24 PE ratio, 2.6 PEG ratio. These are numbers that would violate Tackle 25 analysis.
Mm-hmm.
They just are. But then again, that's AMD. Like,
Yeah.
that's been, if those numbers weren't those numbers for the last 7 years, AMD would be a Tackle 25 stock for the last 7 years. But
Indeed.
that's AMD. Micron here, you're going to see a much better fundamental picture here. 8P ratio, 16 forward. Your price to books are about similar to AMD, just got a little bit of a better valuation picture. What is that? They didn't like that. Okay, and then Marvel here doesn't have a PE ratio right now. The recent earnings was a contraction. The forward is 15. They don't have a peg because they don't have a current PE ratio. Price to books are a little bit overextended here. That fundamental picture gets a heck of a lot better on that earnings. Okay, so that's number one. Micron's the standout from a fundamental perspective, quite frankly, but Micron's a Tackle 25 stock as well. AMD is more of a growth stock. And so if you're looking for the growth, you're looking at AMD. If you're looking for the value, you're looking at, quite frankly, I know Marvel doesn't have it right now, but it will come back. I like Marvel or I like Micron in that capacity. But yeah, it's definitely on the radar, Emily. It's just you got to be a little bit patient and wait for these secondary patterns. But again, don't fret missing the first oversized price movement coming off one of the biggest volatile years we've ever had. Like, don't fret that.
Listen, sometimes I need a coach like you to, talk me off the ledge because FOMO is real. And, when I have a conversation with you, I'm like, okay, I know the answer is to wait for the secondary confirmation. I know that in my, I know that, but I need another voice to tell me the same thing I already know.
Listen, if anybody ever needs somebody to talk them off the ledge of driving into an overextended situation in front of some dark clouds, I am your guy. That I am. There's no doubt about that. But it's obviously woken up, Em, and that's a positive thing for the marketplace. And again, whether or not we've seen the low or not, these types of price movements are needed to eliminate some of the ultimate concern in the market. And so we're punching up here. It's a good thing. Now let's just wait for the, and by the way, the candle kind of screams on SOXX everything I've been talking about. Wait for that secondary pattern here. We could have a good one coming into the end of the week, by the way. We could have a good one here in semis. And that was a little bit of the thought in semis coming into the week, into outside of Intel on the breakout. During the scouting report meeting, I know you were gone this Friday, but during the scouting report meeting, we had a pretty detailed conversation on the semiconductors. And it was all, we like them, but we just need to wait a little bit. This train's left the station. Let it come back.